I'm here to tell you that I am doing a Robin Hood cosplay. Yeah. Don't you find yourself sometimes in the mood of watching nostalgic films? Because I do. I did this past month. I have been kind of struggling to find joy in anything. It sounds very catastrophic. It's not that bad. It's just that I've been doom scrolling a lot because I didn't have the time to actually sit and watch a movie. I'm even struggling to watch YouTube videos nowadays, which is very bad, I know. And I'm trying to consciously getting away from my phone and all that stuff. So I watched Robin Hood, the Disney 2D animated movie. It honestly was a bliss. So I'm here to tell you that I am doing a Robin Hood cosplay, because actually in 2 weeks I have one REN FAIRE happening in a town nearby, and me and my friend are going to go as Robin Hood and Lady Marian. Now I have a new love for that movie, and as it happens, I can do cosplay now. I know how to sew. Yay! I have a few big projects I want to do for the channel, but in the meantime I want to do this one as a kind of more relaxed project, because the Jinshi one that you have seen already had been in the long run. Like, I didn't do that in a week. It was maybe a week throughout, I would say a month and a half. And I am right now, no spoilers, but as I'm recording this, I am working also on a different project that you will see. I don't even know when I'm gonna post that, but yeah, it's a hefty one. For this video, I'm gonna make my Robin Hood costume, and I'm also gonna be helping my friend Ruby Win with her Lady Marian costume. I'm gonna do most of the heavy lifting, and she's gonna come for patterning and for decision making, and then I will sew everything, and then we will have the final try on where I do some, touch-ups. I'm gonna show you how I make them. I am not claiming to be a professional, so if you learn something from this, good, great, amazing. If you are a professional seamstress, I am advising you to close your eyes whenever you see I'm doing something wrong, because I'm probably not gonna learn. You're welcome to let me know how I could improve, but I have to admit I have very bad habits. So let's make that Robin costume. This is the plan. For Robin, it's super easy. Hat with a feather, and then you have the long shirt that reaches to mid-thigh maybe, with the collar and the lacing, which I think it's gonna be decorative in my case, because they are animals. They don't wear pants. My friend has it easier because Lady Marian wears a dress, but Robin does not wear pants. So I had to go and search for some historic references of what they could be wearing. I also watched different Robin Hood movies or references, and they usually wear tights. And I don't want to wear tights, but what I can wear, I don't think I'm gonna be too uncomfortable wearing, they are these kind of socks that hook into a belt under the shirt. Of course, I will be wearing some safety shorts or something underneath. If I do it properly, no one should be able to see what I'm wearing underneath the shirt, because it's gonna be long. For Lady Marian, it's much more complicated because, he is poor, she is rich. So she wears the dress, which is kind of a blouse and then a dress on top, thinking of making all in one piece, but faking it's 2 pieces. And then we have the hat, which I really like because in her, it covers her fox ears, so it's a historical piece that it's adapted very cleverly to her design. And then on top of that, there's a veil. So, ahoy! Wait, that's pirates.
Huh?
What do medieval people say? Well, whatever, we're gonna start now. For this project, I'm patterning everything from scratch, so first thing I needed to do was take my measurements. Once I had that, I could start patterning directly into the fabric, after just a little bit of ironing. Much better. I am folding the fabric in a way that allows me to pattern the front and the back at the same time, but just having to draw 1/2 of each pattern. I just wanted this project to be easy, so I went with the easiest way I could pattern everything. So of course I did the same with the sleeves.
and so I only have to cut once this pattern. I double layer the sleeves, pin them in place and cut the fabric all around. Don't forget to mark down whenever you need sewing allowance, cause if you're like me, you will end up forgetting at some point where you wanted to leave some. And just because I thought it would look cool, I patterned my sleeves with a very wide rolled hem. And this way I didn't need to worry about fraying edges. To make it look cleaner, I did go and press all the folds of the rolled hem one by one. And that also included the hem of the shirt. Once that was done, I presented back and front together, wrong sides out, and pinned the shoulders to run them through the machine. Next, I finished the hems of the shirt with a decorative stitch. Done in a lighter green thread, this will help the garment have a little bit more of texture without looking gaudy. And with a bit of a different pattern, I did the same for the sleeves. I chose this pattern for the sleeves because it reminded me of Fern and I think it really suits Robin Hood. Now to assemble the full thing, we have to pin the sleeves in place and run them through the machine. And because the shoulder is a pretty strained seam, I did reinforce it with a zigzag stitch. Just to let you know, this is the lazy way of constructing a shirt. Usually you would close up the side seams first and then add the sleeves, but if you're lazy like me, this works just fine.
Okay, so the base is done. I closed the sides. It's fitting pretty much how I wanted it. It does look a little bit less baggy than I wanted, but again, I am wearing my shirt underneath, so probably will be a little more loose once I don't have anything underneath. Okay, so right now my head barely fits. I had to take off my glasses to fit. I want to have a little more wiggle room, so I think I am going to open it like pretty much down there. Hold on. Ugh. Said I wanted to open it up till here, but now I'm thinking of lowering it like up to here, like this. I think goes like that, but the neck will go like maybe up to here, like this. And probably it will have like a triangular shape here, and then go like that, and it would be very cute. Then afterwards, the other problem we have to solve here, let me bring you down a little bit. Yeah, right there is this part here. By the way, yeah, one side ended up being longer than the other. In this side, you can tell that these two are not the same length, but somehow in this side, they are the same length, and I don't know how that happened. I have no idea, guys. I think that's gonna look good.
I folded in half the front part of the shirt and very carefully cut down till where I wanted it to open. Then I traced my pattern in a different piece, which consisted on just two mirrored pieces sewn up in the center, which I will flip and iron and then pin in place around the slit we just cut. And with a straight stitch, I sewed around the whole piece. I had to go slow and steady. And then to match the rest of the hems, I tried looking for a different decorative stitching. I wanted it a little bit bigger and more noticeable, but also less contrasting, so I chose a different color thread. And after a long while of just babysitting that my machine didn't, I don't know, break the thread or something, we were done with that part. At this point, I was starting to get hyped up. And now to finish the slits of the shirt, I rolled the extra seam allowance inwards, pinned it in place, and again ran them through a straight stitch in the machine. I did have to do a little bit of cleanup, but that was okay.
So yeah, now the only thing left to do for Robin's shirt is the most dreaded color piece. I don't know how people pattern these things. I am, again, not a professional. So ladies, clutch your pearls, because I'm gonna do as a cosplayer does, and I'm gonna go with a method that I know and love and know that works. So, and you can try to stop me in the comments, but I've already done it by the time you see this. Good luck.
This part is pretty self-explanatory, so I'll leave you to the video. Since I wanted to avoid doing a rolled hem around the collar because it would look very messy with the curves it has, I did 2 pieces of the same pattern and I will sew them as anything else, right sides together with a straight stitch and then flip them around. To keep the 2 pieces bonded, I zigzag stitched the seam. Next step was to put the collar in its place, not without several rounds of pinning and unpinning till I got the right positioning. And just to let you know, this is absolutely not how you sew collar pieces, okay? This was just the easiest way for me to do it. I'm giving it a very nice press, just to get it to lay as flat as I can. Because next I did was sew my sewing allowance to one of the sides of the seam, just so it wouldn't move and you wouldn't be able to see it once I had my garment on. And then I press it again so it lays flat in the right direction.
So the neck is done. I really like it, even though it's not perfect, it's not perfectly symmetrical at all. I'm thinking that the only thing left is to add this trim. I was gonna use it in the arms that, I don't know if you can see right now, nope. I was gonna use it here, but I did decorative stitching and I really like how it came out, so I'm thinking if maybe I should just put it on top, but this may be overkill. Like for sure I'm gonna use it as a decorative thing here. It's gonna go like this, it's gonna be like the closing of the shirt, and maybe it would look good if I'd put it all around this and I can hide my ugly seams this way. The only tough part is that like this trim is not prepared for such deep turns, so I think I might have to sew it by hand in that section and that section only. I think I like that idea because it does look a little too plain for my liking. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and with this one on, I think the sleeve one matching will look better. Maybe. I'm gonna start with the neck.
And the start I did. First I pinned the trim all around the collar piece. I ran it through the machine twice. 1 straight stitch for each side. For the very ends of the trimming, I did go ahead and sew it by hand, just because I didn't want any thread marks visible from the outside of the garment, and this overlapped with the previous decorative stitching I had done. And let me tell you, this was hard. There were so many layers of fabric and my needle was struggling to get through all of it. And now for the last part of this shirt is going to be sew on the laces, which in my case are fake. They don't serve a purpose, they are just there to look pretty. For the dress, I first created these mock-ups with my friend's measurements, so now what I have to do is just unpick every seam and then separate by colors and by fabrics every piece. For the pinafore looking dress, I've got this beautiful lilac fabric. As you will see later in the video, I thought I had to be like super careful with the amount of fabric I was using, but that was silly of me and you will see later why. When I managed to arrange the pattern in a configuration that would calm the itch in my brain, I pinned everything in place and cut it with the seaming allowance I needed. For the blouse, we will be using two fabrics in the same color with different weights. This one is for the neck part and the sleeve cuffs. I cut everything and I forgot that I didn't have the pattern for the neck, so I did that. For the sleeves I'm gonna use this fabric, which I believe is muslin, but because it's so transparent we decided to go for a double layer, which meant we practically used all the fabric we had.
My god, is this a tight fit? Yeesh! So now that I got the pieces cut, all I have to do is assemble them.
But before assembling them, a quick press of every seam that should need it. I make sure to press not only my sewing allowances, but also my dots. I also press the sleeve cuffs, and to give a little more structure to the sleeve cuffs, I line them with my double-sided fusible interfacing. No patterning, no measuring, just vibes. And that reminded me I had to do the same for the collar piece, but before I had to run it through the machine. I really struggled because I was trying to sew with what I thought was polyester thread, but it really was cotton thread. And if you know anything about sewing with machines, is that you do not use cotton thread in a machine. And just like I did with the cuffs, I pressed it flat and then lined it with some adhesive interfacing. Now I'm sorry for what you're about to see, but I had to try and sew with my cotton thread because it was the only thing I had left. So yeah, it kept snapping, tangling, it was bad, it was really bad, but I had to power through. For other seams I didn't much care, but for the bust darts I really want them to be sturdy and clean, so I tried using the little left I had of my white polyester thread. And luckily I had just enough. One last pass on the ironing board and then it's on with the sleeves. Again, this is technically not how you're supposed to do sleeves, but it does work for me.
Whew. Okay, so this is as much as I managed to get done before my friend comes in less than 2 hours, mind you. Almost as much as I wanted to make. The only thing I didn't manage to make were sewing the cuffs to the sleeves, but that's very easy.
Early the next morning,
I have updates. Didn't manage to do that much yesterday with my friend. Sadly for me, lucky for you, because that means I get to show you more of the process. My friend decided that they wanted to, you know, bedazzle. You're too far away for this. They wanted to bedazzle a little further the dress because they were complaining the dress shirt was too plain. We decided what, not bias, like decorations we wanted to add in the dress before I closed the sides. I also told her, girl, I have some, let me show you. Oh no, this is too small. Okay, here. I had this fabric. This was white originally. And I was like, hey girl, I have poly dye, so, you know, we could just dye it purple. And then just thought maybe that's one too much work to gonna look like an old lady. And I was like, you know, actually, you're quite right. Actually, like really, I should finish this today. Because if not, I'm fucked, because I have still to do the wigs. So we decided just to bedazzle a little bit of the waistband, which meant I had to re-sew the whole waist, like the belt part of the costume, which meant this happened somehow. And now I have to unpick it and sew it again. And also my friend managed to finish the little hat they're gonna wear. Historically, this is more medieval than what she is wearing, but we just liked this design better because it's less bulky, and she was a little bit afraid that the other one was gonna be too cringe to wear. This one looks really cute. Like, are you kidding me? This one looks so cute. Tomorrow afternoon she will come to finish this piece, and hopefully I will be working on the wigs by then, at the same time. So I just have to keep working. Before anything else, I have to do the decorative stitching on the sleeves. That you can see I tried and fucked it up. Yeah, I tried to add the decorative stitching. Oh, where are you? Here. And it didn't work out because it was cotton thread, and it absolutely hated me. And I'll go and add all the decorative trimming before anything else, just so I can lay it flat. And then I have the skirt. Let me show you the skirt, which I think looks really cute. We were advised not to do it in this pattern. Like, this is a half circle skirt, because they told us we wouldn't have enough fabric for this method. And then I stretched out the fabric on the floor, and we had plenty. I could repeat this if I wanted to with the amount of fabric that I have left. So I don't know if the guy just wanted to sell more fabric and win more money, or he genuinely thought that we were gonna do so much more with the torso than we actually did. But the fact is that now I don't have to do paneling. I only have to sew one little thing. And that's good, because that means I have less work to do.
To help visually separate the two pieces, the blouse and the dress, I'm gonna sew a combination of two trimmings, one on top of the other, sewn separately with a zigzag stitch of a matching color. Lady Marian wears a necklace, but we decided to incorporate that, directly sewing it into the collar piece so we wouldn't have to worry about it turning or twisting around. And because I know you are screaming on your minds, no, I didn't break any needles. Somehow. I shortly pondered if I should just add that trimming there, but I had a better use for it that you will later see. Now to attach the collar piece. This one was as simple as it gets, just a circle, right sides together. And a good press to finish it off. And finally, I could close the side seams. Attaching the skirt to the waistline should be pretty easy if you are not like me, because I somehow fumbled the measurements on the skirt and I had to fiddle a little bit with the fabric. But once that was pinned in place, I just had to run a straight stitch through the machine. Make the rolled hem on the skirt, and added more of that decorative trimming to the bottom. And oh boy was I lucky, because after all of that, this is what was left of the trim.
So as you can see, the dress is almost done. All the things, all the trims have been put that we calculated, and I've sent pictures to my friend, and she finally has hope. She's like, oh my god, hope restored. Now that I'm seeing it like all together, it looks very nice. It does, it looks very good, but I wanted to add this here, which we wanted to add also here, but we don't have enough for both. Not exactly like this, but you get the gist. I think it makes it look like more cohesive, gives it the medieval vibe that we want. I'm gonna send her a picture, and if she approves, you will see me sew this on. That's the last thing I have to do before she comes here tomorrow to work with me. But my job with this dress is about to be done right now. And after that, the only thing left to do is my hat and my kind of trousers that are not actually trousers. I'm gonna finish my own costume tomorrow morning before she comes to work in the afternoon, while I will be doing the wigs. Let's go.
I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I thought the pants were gonna be easy peasy lemon squeezy. It's just going to be, you know, kind of a rectangle shape with a place for my ass, but it proved to be so much harder than that.
So I ended up having to make a pattern of my ass, because it turns out even if you're not going to connect the pants properly, the shape still has to be the proper shape of your ass. So let me show you. How is it that I never do things easy for myself? How?
So here we are cleaning up the borders of my pattern to use them as a guide for the rest of the leg. Copied my measurements for the width of the leg, pinned it in place and cut it out.
Prime reaction time. Let's see. I pinned the leg down and I'm gonna try it on. It looks like it's too big for me. First I gotta figure out which part is the front and which is the back, because this looks bigger. So I believe my ass goes there. This one off and try not to stab myself to death. Okay, yeah. Okay, it's definitely too big. I'm going to be wearing some kind of shorts underneath it, so it's not too bad. That's what we are looking at, and honestly, that's good enough for me. It's not full ass coverage, but close enough to it, but I gotta adjust. The leg fit. This is too wide. You see, that's too darn big.
Hell no, man.
Yeah, now this is too tight. That's why I hate making pants, because the fit is weird. Is that okay? And it feels okay. Cosplayers are the only creatures that do not learn from their mistakes, because we have very bad habits of sewing. Because I could have done this much easier if I had just stuck with the original measurements of my legs, but I was scared that it was going to be too thin for my girthy legs, when it turns out their measurements were already bigger than my actual leg. Because the thing is that this should go under my foot, like that. Should be good enough.
For me to be able to install the grommets I wanted to, I had to make the fabric a little bit more sturdy, so I cut down 2 layers for each leg of one-sided adhesive interfacing. With all my hems pressed, all I had to do was run them through the machine with a straight stitch. Like so, stitch the leg closed and cut any excess that might add unnecessary bulk. And for the hoops in the feet, I also did a rolled hem to finish those edges, and lastly sewed them together to close them up. And the final part was to install the grommets. I measure and mark with chalk whatever I wanted them to be, punch holes with my scissors and they cut them up a little bit bigger so the grommet could fit. And with a little bit of fiddling, there you go, voila! You can just put it on the thing and hammer it a little bit and you have your grommet. I don't know why, there's something primal about installing grommets that I just love.
Okay fellas, so the pant legs are done. The only thing left to do is to find a cord to run through eyelets. So this go to the finished stash. Nice, don't fall. Thank you. And now all that's left to do, it's the hat. I might be the only person in the entire universe that prefers doing pants or whatever the fuck that was to accessories or, you know, a hat. But honestly, I am very stressed, very afraid of doing this because I have very little fabric because this was expensive and I've got no idea what I'm doing. I'm not gonna go all in and do it in this fabric because first of all, this fabric is too flimsy. It needs some kind of reinforcement, much like the way we did the little hat in my friend's dress. I'm gonna do this one with felt in it. I have to check if I do have enough felt for that. I hope I do. So yeah, let me go check and I'll be back with you with the patterning of the hat.
12 seconds later.
I found some black, which there's not too much of this one, honestly. Green, which I definitely do not have nearly enough. Well, actually, and then this blue, which I don't want to use this one because this one is for a different project, which allegedly should be coming soon to this channel. Allegedly. First of all, I have to measure what size I want this motherfucker to be. So hold on tight while I do that. So from back of my head to the front. So allegedly, for that to work how I want it, I need to make 2 equal patterns. Like I should be able to fold this over somehow. Maybe like this. I think I don't have enough. I'm gonna make it bigger entirely because this one is comically small. Like, let me show you how small this fuck is. Like, should go from my top of the head to here, and it's not reaching my forehead at all. So I think I'm gonna do it just bigger.
This is what happens when you don't work with patterns. This is a very long process of trial and error, and yeah, discoveries that make you think you're dumb.
I'm afraid this one is too big. This one would be nice for a real sized Robin Hood hat, but I don't want a real size one. I needed one that's smaller because it has to fit between 2 goddamn fox ears.
And this is the shape I settled on. Now all that was left was to actually unpin everything, trace it in the final fabric, and assemble it all together. For the felt structure, I sewed closed all the seams that could lay flat with a zigzag stitch. Then I traced the shape in the final fabric, 2 mirrored halves. Ideally, if the fabric had been wide enough, I would have done it in a single piece, but I wasn't that lucky. The structure felt was going to be sandwiched between 2 layers of the final fabric. The lining part, because I didn't want it to drop down, is going to be sewn with the structure layer, and the other is going to be draped on top. You will see that using this method, I avoid having the visible seams of the dots in the top of the hat. And again, the fabric was messing with me. I don't know if it was because the fabric is stretchy or my thread was, again, cotton. I lost track of it. I just knew that it was easier in the end sewing it by hand, so I did that. I sewed closed all around the cap, but for a few centimeters on the back so I can pull it inside out. But before that, I wanted to put a layer of my fusible interfacing so the final layer wouldn't wrinkle on top of the structure. I ran down one of the sides with baking paper, and then when you flip it around, you heat it up once again, bonding the final layer to the structure. And the decorative button also got a cover of the same fabric. I just did a circle of roughly the correct measurements, a little too big admittedly, gathered them around the base, and tie a knot to secure it. And voila, with my button all done, I had to sew it in place. I roughly decided it would go here, and so I stitched it in place just like any other button. Well, it was a little bit more difficult than any other button because there were so many layers of fabric, but you get the gist. And now for the final part of the dress, I was to assemble this pendant. First I had to cut off this loophole that we are not going to need. Nice, just like that. To carefully sew it in place. If it's a little bit crooked to the side, shh, you didn't see anything. And to finish the dress, I sewed the zipper in place off camera. Sadly, I couldn't record any of the process of my friend's wig. We crimped it, we curled it, and this is how it looked before we did the final bun. We wanted to replicate those foxy tufts they have in the sides of the hair, and for the back go for a more historical look. I was really unsure on how to style my own wig, and even though I liked the thought of a more masculine looking haircut, I think historically if you see the art of the period of time, men did have longer hair. And with that, it is time for the final reveal.
Welcome to the end of the video. Oh my god, it's the day after we went to film that reveal. I had an amazing time at the Ren Fair, but it was really tiring. So, about the costume. I loved those costumes. Robin Hood cosplay, really comfortable to wear. The hat did look a little ridiculous. I did get a little bit of a nasty comment from a vendor about them not liking my hat, but you know, it's handmade, it's derpy. I did wear it a little too far back, which might have made it look a little more derpy than it should. The ears were on the way. I got so many fucking comments about me being Peter Pan, which I knew would happen, okay? Just fucking Robin, Peter Pan, that's the same guy. The only thing they have different is that, you know, Robin Hood is a fox. So that's why I wore my fox ears because I knew that would happen, but I did have many interactions with mostly children. I had this one interaction that was so cute. That melted my hair. Like, come on, all the Peter Pan comments, I don't care. That was the goal. Like, that one comment like made my day. My friend Ruby that was in the Lady Marian costume, she was so looked upon by the little girls. They were like that look, you know, that look when a child looks at someone and it goes, that's a fucking real princess. And that was the goal. Like, we did it. Like, we fucking did it. That made our day. One thing I could improve to look less like Peter Pan, maybe wear like my bow and arrows. Though by the end of it, as you have seen in the reveal, I did buy my friend a bow and arrows because they wanted it, and I was like, fuck yeah, would you let me take some pictures with them? I didn't get pictures though, I got video because we had to rush to get away, like to go back home because it's pretty far away and it's getting kind of late. Things I would change of the costume overall. First, It was comfy, but I had one issue. I made the pants too short. Either I was wearing them too tight up, because by the end of the day, when I took off my boots, when I took off my boots, one of the legs, the part that goes under the feet, had ripped a little bit from the pressure. I have to somehow, you know, extend the length of that feet part right now. The hat definitely messed it up a little bit. I would try to use more glue. The fabric was very beautiful. It was shit to sew through because it was elastic, and I don't have elastic thread or elastic needles, so that's on me, I guess. My friend keeps saying that she would change everything. If I could, yes, surely I would have bought like a brocade or something with a little bit more je ne sais quoi, but it is what it is. Wigs, mine was a concept, but it worked out. I got a lot of compliments of how the wisps looked, like the little hairs. Overall, I love it. Like, this was such a cool project. The only real issue here was the thread thing, where mid-project I ran out of thread and shops weren't open for 3 days because it was like a festive or something, I don't remember. For next project, always have ready the thread. When you buy the fabrics, buy the thread. If you run out of threads, you die. That's the final review of the costumes. If you are here, thank you so much for sticking around till the end of the video. If you like sewing projects, you can check other videos on my channel, and you can subscribe for more videos like this. Leave a comment or a like, it would be much appreciated. And you can also find me in any other social media, but the one I use most is Instagram as 𝗘𝗱𝗶𝗁𝗄, same as this channel. And also you can check my Patreon, where I upload extended versions of YouTube, which, you know, we know YouTube doesn't like. All patrons on my YouTube tier get sneak peeks of my projects and more in-depth videos on the wigs I do for the channel. And if you are on the cosplay tier, you get not only the things I show in this channel, but also my personal projects that I do not record and the commissions that I make. So yeah, feel free to check it out. The link should be down below. But thank you so much for having me here. My name's Tora. I am a cosplayer who does cosplay, medieval stuff, and generally I just try to have a good time doing some projects. And I try to not go bad from too much stress. And I will see you in 2 weeks with my next video. Bye bye.
Bonk. Luce cuerno, Yune, luce cuerno. Ay, vamos a hacer al inicio. A ver.
Super Saiyan.